So tonight I did want to talk about Buddha nature, and we've been talking about the journey of spiritual transformation from a Buddhist point of view. And so we began with the observation that we are on a journey that somewhat paradoxically is about becoming different and going somewhere, and at the same time just becoming more of who you already are. So you're both going somewhere and finding out that you are exactly where you've always been. And last week, I tried to open a discussion, and I hope it was useful, about the quality of inspiration, of what inspires that journey. Not so much the motivation, but what, which is sort of what makes you want to do it. But for most of us at the beginning of our journey, there's some quality of I call it a spark, but some kind of encounter or curiosity or some shift that happens that uh, leads you onto the path. And so as I thought, well, where do we go from there? I thought, oh, well, this is a very useful way of talking about what happens on the journey and that discovery of yourself that you already are. So I thought we could talk about Buddha nature. And Buddha nature is a great way concept that is common to the Buddhism of China, Japan, Korea, Tibet, and is echoed in the Indian teachings and the South Asian teachings. So it's key to understanding Buddhism uh, from the Great Way and the Immediate Way point of view. And I often, when I think about these teachings, I actually try to find a way to regard them or hold them uh, in a way that's very ordinary or down to earth, every day. Because I believe that they're pointing at experiences and understandings that anybody could have, that you don't need to be a philosopher or a scholar or a master meditator, that these were teachings that were actually developed for everybody. And so Trungpa Rinpoche, when he talked about this, he talked about Buddha nature as a seed, seed, the seed of awakening. Like there was this potential that was in everyone. And so I think that's one way to think about, oh, there's this potential, this ability, um, just this ground level ability that everyone has. And you're not special for having the ability, everyone has it. Um, in fact, there's a Buddhist teaching that everything that can feel pain and pleasure, so that includes cats and dogs and bugs and birds, it includes everything that feels, everything that is sentient. That's what that word means. Beings that feel pleasure and pain, that go towards pleasure and turn away from pain. That's the measure of sentience, right? Everything that feels, and that includes stomach bacteria, right? Because they move away from pain. Like if you put something sharp close to you know, the bacteria, it'll, if it can, move away, right? So it's not special to have this ability to feel. Everything that feels has this ability. Everything has Buddha nature. All sentient beings have Buddha nature. It sounds much fancier when we're not talking about stomach bacteria, right? So everything. So what is this everything quality that's essential to understanding how to awaken? And I believe it's in that you can feel, you can experience, you are available for the encounter with awareness. So my question a little earlier of, the threshold experience where you're crossing the threshold from being asleep to being awake. What was that like? And we had lots of good answers. Like some of it is like there's a sudden quality of experience that penetrates, and then you wake up and you might notice that you're thinking, you might notice a pain in the knee, things come into focus. There's some quality where you become available to your own experience. And one of you even said, is that sense of me. And I thought, oh, that's delightful. Because most often in a Buddhist context, talking about me is like a bad word. We want to get past me. But in this instance, that me is actually the experience of being available to things happening, to life penetrating, to being touched, to being sentient. So there's lots of classic things that are said about Buddha nature, but the first thing I wanted to say is this ground level quality of just being available to experience your own being alive. And then there are certain hallmarks to that that turn it into the ability to awaken. One is that every moment that you have that experience is wide open and dynamic. It's empty, empty of anything to hold on to. It's completely fresh. There's one moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment. You might wake up from a dream. You have the sort of tendrils of the dream, the sort of frayed edges of the dream that are following you into being awake. And let's imagine it was a wonderful dream, and then you open your eyes and you look out. Today I woke up, it was a beautiful blue sky, sunny day. I was like, oh, there's that. And then the dream passes away. And there's this quality of like, I'm available for whatever's next. And then I put my feet on the floor, and then I feel whatever I feel, some anxiety, some worry, some happy anticipation, whatever it is, you're available for that. So it's open, the next moment is fresh, and then the next thing happens. And then I look down and maybe I don't see where I left my glasses, and there's a moment of anxiety, and then I see them and there's a moment of relief. It's completely fresh and unpredictable. Right? And even if you've done it 1,000 times, it's still fresh. So open, fresh, dynamic. There's a quality of clearness in it that you can tell that you can tell an experience is being had. I'm trying to remove the you or me from the how to say that, but there's a clarity to this experience is going on, right? This moment of openness is happening, right? And there's a sense of presence, right? It's not like still being in the dream, not quite knowing where you are, thinking that something else is going. There's a moment of clarity, right? So open, clear, fresh, and then this might be a little surprising, but it leans towards warmth. It leans towards compassion and connection. That the natural, at least for human beings, can't talk about anybody else right now, but the natural experience of this open ability to feel is a feeling of connectedness. And out of that connectedness arises a natural sense of fellowship, compassion, interest, curiosity, and all of that just waking up. So that experience, the teachings say, that open, clear, fresh, dynamic warmth, every living being has. Certainly every human being has that potential, that seed of potentiality. It might be buried under years and years of, family pain and trauma and hardship, hard feelings. It might be layered under all the things that are demanding of you that you feel so hard dealt by, and they might all be true. And they are not the seed. The seed is underneath of it. It's your ability to feel. And so, a lot of times on the journey of spiritual awakening in Buddhism, the instruction is to try to connect with that ability, and see that the ability is in you, it's in everyone you know, it's in those you love, it's in those you feel the opposite of love for, which is probably disinterest, and even in those you dislike. It's in everything. We could go further and we could say it's in all the elements. It's in the rocks and the trees but let's keep it more simple and homey for tonight. It's certainly in each of us. And that seed of awakening is what allows us to actually progress along our meditation path and begin to feel the experience that happened for the Buddha of complete awakening. Um, for those of you who are uh, meditators who've heard the Shambhala teachings, um, this sort of fundamental quality of ability to feel and be present and aware of experience is what Trungpa Rinpoche meant by basic goodness. It wasn't about being nice, because a toothache can express basic goodness. Um, a loss can be your gateway to basic goodness. Losses aren't nice. Losses are losses. So if you've lost a loved one, I was talking a little earlier with a friend about this sad, event in my family. And as I talked, I could feel my sadness. And that's good because I'm available to feel it and feel life touching me and aware of the experience as it's happening. So that's the fundamental goodness that Trungpa Rinpoche talked about when he talked about basic goodness. And for those of you who are practitioners of the Tantra of Vajrayana, um, this is also an open door to understanding the nature of mind, the true nature. That if you want to understand true nature, you begin with, oh, this experience, this very vivid, alive experience, not a thing I can hold on to, that's part of its emptiness, is what I'm experiencing. That's what it's like to be awake. So I hope some of that was useful. That's what I wanted to share for tonight. It's hard when talking about basic goodness, nature of mind, Buddha nature, to not be poetic, because to be scientific or academic, I think misses the point. So I look forward to hearing what you would like to share about that.